Hello. Today we are making two-dimensional shapes into three-dimensional forms. The supplies you'll need for this are cardboard. I have pieces of mat board here, which is kind of like a colored cardboard for framing. You'll need a writing implement, a ruler, masking tape, and an X-Acto knife. When you're working with an X-Acto knife, you want to make sure you're working on another piece of cardboard or scoring surface so that you don't press right through the piece that you're working on and scratch up your table surface. So I'm working on some cardboard today. We're going to make letters into three-dimensional objects. So I'm going to use the letter H as an example. You can see that the basic shape of an H doesn't have a lot of form, a lot of volume, so we're going to translate that into a block letter and build out the block letter as our three-dimensional form. I have two pieces of mat board here, black and white, and I'm going to trace out the shape of my letter, and one of these pieces will become the front and one will become the back. I'm going to measure out and use my ruler as my guideline because I want the legs of the H to be nice and straight. Now I'm going to drop my horizontal lines in. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm going to cut out these lines with the X-Acto knife. I'm going to use my ruler to help me stay on the lines and cut as neatly as possible. Now when you're using a ruler to be your guide for something like an X-Acto knife or a cutting tool, you want to make sure you use a ruler that has a metal edge or a metal ruler. Because if you use a wooden ruler without an edge, you can score into the wood of the ruler and make that straight edge uneven. Sometimes you have to press down hard on your lines. Sometimes you might have to go over them twice. The sharper your X-Acto knife tool is, the better scratches you're going to get. The more clean your lines are going to be, and the less likely you are to actually cut yourself because it doesn't catch when you score it. Now that I have my front piece cut out, I am going to label it front. And I'm going to use this as my stencil to make an exact copy on the back. Press my lines in and use my X-Acto knife. If you aren't exactly perfect with your cutting out of your first shape, your front side, using your front side as a stencil for your back helps because it's more important that your front and back match up than for them to be perfectly straight and measured. So now I have a matching front and back. I'm going to label the back. And now to get the volume, We're going to use about 2 inch pieces to get these separated. I'm going to work from the front. I'm going to set the back aside. And I've already cut strips of the mat board in about 2-inch widths. So I can take these pieces of mat board, line them up against the sides of my shape, and tape them to each of the sides of the H, like that, and fold it up. That one looks about right, so I'm going to tape that. And I'm beginning to flesh out the 3D form. You see how the corners come up? I'm going to tape the corners in place and support that. And I'm slowly making an H-shaped box. This piece is a little long. I'm going to mark it. Mark it. Cut it across. Using my tool, and I'll set that one in there. And I think you get the idea. Once you have all your sides to your form, you're going to take your back, lay it directly on top, and tape around all the outside edges. Until you get a form that looks like this. Solid, solid, bottom, top, a 3D image of the letter H.